Ukraine's deployment of 6 ATACMS missiles against the Taganrog military airfield marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict. The December 11th strike targeted crucial Russian military infrastructure in the Rostov region, though Russia claimed their defense systems intercepted several missiles. In response, Putin issued direct threats to launch hypersonic ballistic missiles at Kyiv if such attacks continued. As the war enters what officials describe as its most dangerous phase, Ukraine has expanded its targeting strategy to include chemical plants vital for Russian weapons production. The strategic significance of these ATACMS strikes became evident when Russia launched a record-breaking counterattack of 188 drones in a single night, demonstrating the rapidly evolving nature of this conflict. President Zelensky maintains that these precision strikes on Russian military facilities are necessary steps toward achieving peace, despite the escalating tensions between the two nations. The recent ATACMS strike on the Russian military base in Kursk marked a pivotal moment in Ukraine's ongoing offensive, signaling a shift in its strategic capabilities. The operation unfolded over several days, starting on Monday morning, when Ukrainian forces launched 7 ATACMS missiles at the Kursk-Vostochny airfield. This was followed by another precision strike on Saturday, targeting an S-400 air defense missile battalion located in Lotarevka, northwest of Kursk. The attack continued with a powerful, coordinated missile strike on the Kalino air base, significantly intensifying Ukraine's relentless efforts to degrade Russian military infrastructure. This strategic move was not just about retaliation, but about sending a clear message of resilience and determination. To complement these devastating missile strikes, Ukraine deployed palindrones, sleek, efficient, and specifically designed to exhaust Russian air defenses, heightening the pressure on already strained Russian forces. The precision of the targeting strategy behind these strikes was nothing short of impressive, crafted with meticulous care to maximize operational effectiveness. The Kalino airfield, located just 60 miles from the Russian border, held immense strategic value as a key site for Russian air operations. By specifically targeting the S-400 air defense system, widely regarded as one of Russia's most formidable defensive assets, comparable to the US Patriot missile system, Ukraine aimed to neutralize a critical part of Russia's military capability. The calculated boldness of this strike revealed Ukraine's evolving tactical sophistication, leaving Russia with no choice but to reassess its defenses under mounting pressure. The targeting strategy behind these strikes was carefully crafted to maximize operational effectiveness. The Kalino airfield, located roughly 60 miles from the Russian border, was a key site for Russian air operations. By targeting the S-400 air defense system, comparable to the US Patriot missile system, Ukraine aimed to neutralize one of Russia's most advanced defensive assets. Furthermore, Ukrainian forces focused on fuel tanks, command facilities, warehouses, and nearby air defense batteries to create weaknesses in Russia's defensive infrastructure and logistical operations. Initial damage assessments confirmed the success of the strikes. Notable impacts included significant damage to the radar system of the S-400 battalion, as well as injuries to 2 servicemen at the Vostochny airbase. The attacks disrupted Russian ground logistics, including supply chains and aircraft repair capabilities, while the destruction of fuel storage facilities immediately hampered Russia's operational capacity. Despite Russian claims of high interception rates, satellite imagery validated the effectiveness of the ATACMS strikes, confirming successful hits on critical infrastructure. This success has opened up new opportunities for Ukraine, particularly by exploiting the gaps created in Russian air defenses, which could enable more targeted drone strikes in future operations. These developments have had a profound military impact, causing significant operational disruptions across multiple fronts. The recent strikes against Russian military installations have severely hindered Russian forces' effectiveness in combat. The damage inflicted on key facilities has disrupted air operations, logistics, and defensive systems, all of which have strained Russia's ability to maintain its offensive momentum. The combination of these factors highlights the substantial consequences of the ATACMS strikes, altering the balance of operations on the battlefield and creating openings for Ukraine to exploit in the ongoing conflict. The precision strikes on Taganrog military airfield proved especially damaging to Russia's aircraft maintenance capabilities. The destruction of the aircraft repair plant severely affected the upkeep of strategic aircraft, notably the A-50 airborne early warning and control planes. As a result, Russian forces now face a reduced operational capacity, with fewer combat sorties and diminished airstrike effectiveness, weakening their overall air operations. These strikes carry significant strategic value, as they have not only caused immediate damage, but also created exploitable gaps in Russia's defenses. The ATACMS attacks targeted critical infrastructure elements, such as command and control facilities, military production plants, supply depots, logistics hubs, air defense systems, and radar installations. The widespread damage to these components has disrupted multiple facets of Russia's military operations, with particular emphasis on fuel storage facilities, which have forced delays in troop deployments and limited armored vehicle mobility. The disruption to Russian operational capabilities has been profound. The attacks have reduced air defense coverage, especially impacting the S-400 system, which can track only up to 36 targets simultaneously. The destruction of ammunition depots has created short-term supply shortages, forcing the diversion of resources from offensive operations to infrastructure repairs. Furthermore, the damage to radar installations and air defense batteries has exposed vulnerabilities that may enable future Ukrainian drone strikes to be more effective. In addition, the strikes have had a major impact on Russia's logistical network. The destruction of railway infrastructure, including 2 locomotives in the Bryansk region, has crippled Russia's primary supply routes. This disruption has led to equipment shortages and delays in resupply efforts at the front lines. In response, Russian commanders have been forced to reassess troop deployments and command structures, adjusting their strategies to mitigate the damage. Overall, the ATACMS strikes have fundamentally altered the tactical landscape for Russian forces, forcing them to adapt and intensifying the pressure on their operational and logistical systems. This shift in the battlefield dynamic has been driven by Russia's defensive failures, which were starkly revealed during the recent missile strikes. The ATACMS missile strikes exposed critical vulnerabilities in Russia's defensive infrastructure, particularly in its ability to protect strategic assets. These weaknesses, ranging from limitations in air defense systems to deficiencies in early warning capabilities and personnel response, have become increasingly evident. The inability to effectively counter the precision and speed of the ATACMS missiles has left Russian forces scrambling to adapt, highlighting the growing challenges they face in maintaining their defensive posture. These failures have not only undermined Russia's ability to safeguard its key military infrastructure, but have also placed considerable strain on its broader operational and logistical systems, further complicating its response to the ongoing conflict. One of the most significant issues revealed during the strikes is the limitation of Russia's premier air defense system, the S-400. The system's tracking capabilities are unable to monitor more than 36 targets simultaneously, leaving substantial gaps in coverage. Furthermore, the S-400's reaction time proves insufficient against the rapid maneuvers and low-altitude approach vectors of ATACMS missiles. Designed for traditional threats, the system struggles to adapt to sudden, high-speed attacks, as its preset threat parameters often fail to adjust in real time, rendering it less effective against modern missile tactics. In addition to the air defense system weaknesses, Russia's early warning infrastructure also demonstrated significant flaws. While the Defense Ministry reported intercepting 3 out of 5 ATACMS missiles in one attack, 2 still reached their intended target. In another instance, although 7 missiles were reportedly shot down, 1 penetrated defenses. These incidents highlight the radar system's inability to detect low-flying projectiles and their limited range, as they fail to detect threats beyond the horizon. This results in critical blind spots, further compromising Russia's defensive capabilities. The response from Russian military personnel has also been inadequate, exacerbating the overall defensive failure. Coordination between different defensive units has been poor, and the military's ability to make real-time decisions has been limited. These challenges are attributed to insufficient training for modern threat scenarios, leaving personnel ill-prepared for the complexity of ATACMS strikes. Additionally, Russian forces struggled with stretched air defense resources, forcing commanders to make difficult decisions between protecting strategic assets and maintaining frontline defenses. This lack of effective response has contributed to the loss of vital military infrastructure. The combination of technological limitations and coordination issues has severely hindered Russia's ability to adapt to the evolving nature of modern warfare. The air defense systems, primarily designed to counter traditional aircraft and missile threats, have proven inadequate against precision-guided tactical missiles like the ATACMS. As a result, Russia's defensive infrastructure remains vulnerable to such strikes, impacting its capacity to safeguard strategic assets and reshaping its military operations in the face of increasing challenges. These vulnerabilities have directly influenced the course of the conflict, opening the door for Ukraine to capitalize on this weakness. The deployment of ATACMS missiles has fundamentally altered the military dynamics in Ukraine's favor, allowing Ukrainian forces to advance between 28 and 35 kilometers into the Kursk region, marking a significant territorial gain against Russian positions. This shift has provided Ukraine with a notable military advantage, and recent operations have resulted in substantial successes on multiple fronts. The effectiveness of Ukraine's strike, in part due to Russia's weakened defenses, has further reinforced Ukraine's position, showcasing the direct impact of Russia's defensive failures on the strategic battlefield. As a result, these successes have not only strengthened Ukraine's military position, but also set the stage for future operations aimed at exploiting these vulnerabilities even further. Ukraine has captured significant amounts of Russian territory and prisoners, which offer valuable assets for potential exchanges. Additionally, Ukrainian forces strategically targeted and destroyed at least 2 key bridges in the region, severely hampering Russian logistics and disrupting their supply lines. Perhaps most strikingly, the ATACMS strikes destroyed 9 Russian helicopters at bases in Berdyansk and Luhansk, showcasing unprecedented precision in targeting and significantly reducing Russia's air capabilities. These operations have had a profound impact on Russia's military assets, including the destruction of more than a dozen Russian ships through coordinated attacks and the damage or destruction of at least 12 Russian air defense batteries in Crimea. The sinking of multiple vessels, including the strategic Cyclone warship, further underlined the effectiveness of Ukraine's strikes and its growing dominance in the region. The success of these operations has provided a substantial morale boost for Ukrainian forces. Military leaders have hailed the ATACMS strikes as proof that Ukraine retains strong offensive capabilities, with Roman Kostenko, a lawmaker and security service officer, describing the attacks as a victory that we have not had for a long time. President Zelensky emphasized that these achievements demonstrated the ineffectiveness of Kremlin threats of retaliation, restoring confidence among Ukrainian troops, particularly after a period of limited territorial gains since late 2022. The strategic implications of these victories are far-reaching. The successful deployment of ATACMS missiles has proven Ukraine's ability to strike deeper into Russian territory, presenting new defensive challenges for Moscow. The destruction of advanced Russian air defense systems, including the S-300 and S-400, signals Ukraine's growing capacity to neutralize key military assets. Beyond the immediate military gain, Ukraine's successes have also strengthened its economic resilience. With food exports now matching or even exceeding pre-invasion levels, Ukraine's economic position remains robust, which is likely to play a pivotal role in any future negotiations. The strategic victories in the Black Sea region, alongside military advancements, provide Ukraine with continued opportunities to exert pressure on Russian supply lines, especially in the transportation of fuel and ammunition. This sustained pressure is expected to force significant adaptations in Russian military planning and resource allocation, reshaping the battlefield in Ukraine's favor as the conflict progresses. In response, the Kremlin has adopted a multifaceted approach to address Ukraine's growing advantages. The Kremlin's response to Ukraine's ATACMS strikes combines diplomatic threats, military countermeasures, and domestic messaging, all aimed at mitigating the immediate tactical impact while also shaping long-term strategic calculations. By attempting to control the narrative at home and abroad, Russia seeks to maintain its military posture and prevent further erosion of its strategic position, signaling that the conflict is far from over and that escalation remains a likely option. Official statements from the Russian government were quick to characterize Ukraine's use of ATACMS missiles as a significant escalation. The Russian Defense Ministry declared that the strikes marked a new phase of the Western war against Moscow. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, emphasized that Russia would definitely respond to the missile attacks on military airfields. This firm stance was further supported by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who called on Western nations to reconsider President Putin's updated nuclear doctrine, which had lowered the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons. In terms of military countermeasures, Russia's response focused on three key actions aimed at both countering the immediate threat and preparing for future escalations. First, Russia deployed the experimental Oreshnik hypersonic missile system, which travels at Mach 10 to 5 to 3 kilometers per second. This missile was positioned as a direct response to Western-supplied missiles like ATACMS, with Putin declaring that there are no means of countering such weapons today. In addition to this, Russia authorized retaliatory strikes on Ukrainian defense facilities and worked to enhance air defense systems around critical infrastructure to fortify its positions. Domestically, Russian state media played a crucial role in shaping the narrative surrounding the ATACMS strikes. Rather than acknowledging losses, the Ministry of Defense adopted a strategy of selective information sharing, carefully controlling the flow of details to minimize the impact of the strikes. State-controlled media platforms focused on downplaying the significance of the ATACMS missile strikes, with the narrative that these weapons would be useless for the front line. At the same time, media outlets highlighted the missiles' long range, stressing that they could threaten an enormous territory of our country, and implied that this justified potential escalation. Additionally, the Kremlin used the strikes to adjust its nuclear doctrine, which now includes provisions for responding to conventional attacks with nuclear force. The updated doctrine specifically addresses scenarios involving aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state with the support of a nuclear state, introducing strategic ambiguity and raising concerns about the possibility of nuclear retaliation. Dmitry Peskov confirmed that the new guidelines could potentially lead to a nuclear response if Ukrainian ATACMS strikes were deemed significant enough. Through a combination of diplomatic posturing, military countermeasures, and carefully crafted domestic messaging, the Kremlin has sought to contain the impact of Ukraine's ATACMS strikes while simultaneously preparing for potential further escalation, both militarily and strategically. This approach reflects a broader effort to manage the immediate consequences of the strikes while maintaining the option to intensify Russia's response if necessary. As these efforts unfold, significant shifts in battlefield dynamics have emerged. Ukraine's receipt of authorization to use ATACMS missiles against targets within Russian territory marked a crucial turning point in the conflict. In response to the ATACMS strikes, Russian forces significantly altered their operational approach. The military relocated much of its critical weaponry beyond the range of Ukraine's missiles, focusing heavily on strengthening defensive fortifications. At present, around 50,000 soldiers, including North Korean troops, are positioned for a major assault to reclaim territory in the Kursk region. However, the Russian military has faced unprecedented casualties, with October becoming the costliest month of the entire war. Reports from Admiral Sir Tony Radakin revealed that Russian forces were losing approximately 1,500 soldiers daily due to deaths or injuries. In light of these losses, Moscow has ramped up its recruiting efforts, supplementing its forces with 10,000 North Korean personnel. On the other hand, Ukraine has gained significant military advantages thanks to the ATACMS authorization. The missile's 190-mile range allows Ukraine to target hundreds of important Russian military assets within striking distance of the Ukrainian border. The Institute for the Study of War has identified multiple high-value targets in this range, enabling Ukraine to make precision strikes. Ukrainian forces have demonstrated tactical superiority through successful strikes on S-400 air defense systems, precise targeting of military logistics nodes, and effective disruption of Russian supply lines, further weakening Russian capabilities. However, the battlefield dynamics are now characterized by a complex interplay of capabilities and constraints. Ukraine has faced increasing manpower shortages, with recruitment rates falling behind casualty rates since late 2023. This has led to a hollowing out of units along the contact line, diminishing Ukraine's ability to sustain offensive operations. The involvement of North Korean forces has added another layer of complexity to the conflict, signaling a significant shift in the scope of the war. While Pyongyang may send up to 100,000 additional troops, this would only compensate for a few months of Russian combat losses, indicating that the long-term sustainability of this reinforcement remains uncertain. The Biden administration's decision to allow Ukraine to strike within Russian territory was, in part, motivated by concerns over the potential escalation of the conflict with the involvement of North Korean forces. The authorization is aimed at helping Ukraine defend against the combined Russian-North Korean assault force, bolstering Ukraine's strategic position in the face of mounting pressure. However, some Pentagon officials have expressed concerns about limited US stockpiles and whether Ukraine can alter the course of the war with these new tools at its disposal. As the battlefield situation continues to evolve, Russian troops are making significant advances toward Pokrovsk, a crucial Ukrainian logistics hub. However, these advances come at a high cost in terms of casualties, underscoring Russia's willingness to accept heavy losses in pursuit of territorial gains. Simultaneously, the involvement of North Korean troops has altered the strategic calculations for both sides, influencing future military planning and resource allocation. These developments are poised to shape the trajectory of the war in the coming months. Amid these shifting dynamics, the Army Tactical Missile System, ATACMS, has become a game-changer in modern warfare. Manufactured by Lockheed Martin, this surface-to-surface ballistic missile system provides sophisticated long-range precision strike capabilities, fundamentally transforming military operations. The ATACMS system, with its advanced guidance and warhead configurations, is capable of delivering highly targeted strikes against strategic assets, offering a significant advantage on the battlefield. As both sides adapt to these evolving conditions, the capabilities of ATACMS will continue to play a pivotal role in shaping military operations and influencing the ongoing conflict. The ATACMS missile has impressive physical specifications, measuring approximately 13 feet in length, more than 2 feet in diameter, and weighing around 3,700 pounds. Powered by solid rocket propellant propulsion, the missile achieves remarkable velocities and follows complex ballistic trajectories, making it a formidable tool for modern military forces. The missile features 2 distinct warhead configurations. One variant carries up to 950 submunitions, ideal for wide-area effects, while the other is equipped with a unitary high-explosive warhead weighing 225 kilos, designed for precision strikes against hardened targets. With an operational range extending up to 300 kilometers, the ATACMS can strike numerous high-value strategic targets deep behind enemy lines. The missile is typically deployed from either the M270 multiple launch rocket system or the M142 HIMARS platform, with each missile costing approximately $150 million. The ATACMS guidance system incorporates advanced GPS and inertial navigation technologies, achieving a circular error probable CEP of 1050 meters. This remarkable precision allows for rapid course corrections during flight, making interception attempts far more difficult. Recent operational data has consistently showcased the missile's effectiveness in striking critical infrastructure. ATACMS strikes have successfully targeted command facilities, power plants, metallurgical plants, and military repair installations, demonstrating its ability to incapacitate essential enemy infrastructure with surgical precision. However, air defense systems, particularly Russia's S-400, have shown significant vulnerabilities against the ATACMS. The S-400 can only track 36 targets simultaneously, a limitation that Ukrainian forces exploit by deploying palindrones in advance of ATACMS strikes. These drones overwhelm the enemy's defenses, increasing the chances of a successful strike. Furthermore, the ATACMS missile's flight characteristics make it difficult to intercept. The missile follows a steep trajectory at high velocity as it nears its target, complicating defensive responses. Additionally, the missile's ability to perform sudden course corrections reduces the effectiveness of conventional air defense systems. Russian air defense systems, including the Panzer missile defense system, have struggled to intercept ATACMS missiles. One documented instance showed that only 2 of 6 ATACMS missiles were successfully intercepted. The combination of the missile's high approach speed, low altitude final trajectory, and the use of electronic warfare measures has consistently degraded the effectiveness of Russia's defense systems. Looking ahead, the US Army is transitioning from ATACMS to the next-generation precision strike missile, PSM, capable of hitting targets at ranges of up to 500 kilometers. This development reflects the evolution of strike capabilities, suggesting that future missile variants will further enhance the ability to penetrate advanced air defense systems and achieve even more precise, longer-range strikes. Military experts worldwide have analyzed the recent deployment of ATACMS missiles in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, providing valuable insights into their strategic impact. One key point of focus is how ATACMS has affected Russian military capabilities. Michael Kaufman, a prominent expert from the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, emphasizes that ATACMS offers Ukraine a significant operational benefit. This capability allows Ukraine to defend and hold on to territories in Kursk, counteracting Russia's advantage of utilizing North Korean forces. However, experts also note that the United States has a limited stockpile of ATACMS missiles, with approximately 2,400 in total, half of which are nearing expiration. This constraint may influence future deployments and long-term strategic planning. Former U.S. Lieutenant General Ben Hodges points out that with sufficient missile supplies, Ukraine could undermine Russia's counteroffensive in Kursk. Looking ahead, military strategists predict several key developments. The Institute for the Study of War has identified hundreds of critical Russian military targets within 190 miles of the Ukrainian border, which could be targeted by ATACMS. Meanwhile, Russia's forces continue to experience heavy losses, with approximately 1,500 soldiers killed or wounded daily. Experts predict that Ukraine may only be able to maintain its current position until the end of the next campaign season, which extends from spring to summer 2025, due to challenges in troop mobilization and increasing reliance on conscription. Furthermore, defense analysts observe that Russia has repositioned 90% of its air bases housing bomber jets beyond ATACMS range, demonstrating its adaptation to this new threat. Kurt Volker, a former U.S. ambassador to NATO, warns that revealing plans for ATACMS deployment could give Russia advance notice of potential Ukrainian strikes. Tactical recommendations suggest that Ukraine's most effective strategy could involve using ATACMS to target Russian ground-based air defense systems, particularly those designed to counter F-16 jets. Striking these systems could enable Ukraine to use drones more effectively and economically. Despite these opportunities, Ukraine's military faces significant manpower constraints, with only about 50,000 soldiers available against Russia's 350,000. Experts recommend focusing resources on strengthening defensive lines, such as well-protected trenches, anti-tank and anti-personnel minefields, and small drone fleets for defensive operations. Targeting Russian logistics, a strategy that has already proven effective, could further damage key infrastructure and disrupt both Russia's military capacity and economic stability. The Pentagon's analysis highlights the ongoing challenge Ukraine faces in utilizing U.S. aid effectively, given its personnel shortages. As such, experts advocate prioritizing defensive measures over offensive ones to protect Ukrainian-held territory and possibly create conditions conducive to diplomatic negotiations. Additionally, the involvement of North Korean troops in the conflict has shifted the strategic calculus. The Biden administration's decision to authorize ATACMS strikes on Russian soil is seen as a direct response to concerns about North Korean troop deployments. Military planners anticipate that inflicting significant losses on North Korean forces could discourage further commitments from Pyongyang, potentially altering the dynamics of the conflict. The conflict enters a critical phase as both sides adjust their strategies. Military analysts project Ukraine has until the summer of 2025 to maintain its current position, considering troop mobilization challenges and resource constraints. Certainly, the involvement of North Korean forces and Russia's updated nuclear doctrine raise the stakes significantly. If you support Ukraine to win this war, please comment number 1 in the comments section below to let us know. Ultimately, these ATACMS strikes demonstrate the evolving nature of modern warfare, where precision strikes against strategic targets can significantly impact military capabilities and territorial control. The coming months will prove crucial as both sides adapt to these new battlefield realities, potentially reshaping the conflict's trajectory and regional security dynamics.